All right, Frank, you got to dance.
What do I got?
There you go. There you go. Welcome to the show, everybody. How the hell are you doing? Happy Wednesday to you. Icky, back for another episode. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for tolerating me once again.
Of course. Tomorrow, a new episode of Icky Life dropping.
No, we're not doing this one this week. We're just too slammed with stuff here locally, so it's going to be next week.
I got to gear up for the Civil War, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. We've got a couple shows happening locally as well. That's taking all my time.
So go, make sure you go check him out. You can find him at The Icky Life. That's on Facebook and Instagram. Usually episodes drop every Thursday, but like you said, things are a little bit busy right now, so he's not able to get to it. Now, coming up on tonight's stream, I should say, we're going to get to some things you didn't know. American Beauty, which was a fantastic movie, but when you really think about it, a really creepy movie.
It's Kevin Spacey.
Well, not even just him, but in general, the whole the theme of the movie. Like it's a really weird movie. We're going to talk about Community.
Falling in love with children, that whole thing.
That whole thing right there.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Community, the show, one of my favorite shows of all time. We're going to talk about the Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die. We're going to talk about the show Archer, another one that's very close to the top of my list. Plus starter jackets. Did either of you have a starter jacket back in the day?
Hell yeah.
Yeah? What'd you have?
Yes, definitely.
I had the Florida State one. What else would I have?
Maybe Buccaneers.
No, but I did also have the Charlotte Hornets one as well.
Oh, okay. Icky, what'd you have?
Ooh, that is like a home run in the 90s because you're going with the teal and purple too, which you can't get more 90s than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got destroyed.
So which one did you have, Icky?
I had a 49ers starter jacket that I begged for Christmas for 3 years and finally got it.
See, I never got a starter jacket. I wanted one, but instead my parents got me this jacket, and at the time I was kind of like, I wanted a starter jacket. But what they ended up getting me was way cooler, and I ended up using it. It was a Minnesota Twins jacket, and it was a really, really nice jacket, and it actually had...
Oh, look at that.
I got one of
Oh my God.
This is one of the old zip-up ones, though.
Flip it around. Show the back. Show the back.
Huh?
Is it what's on the back? Say Knowles or anything?
It's just these windbreaker ones, and it has like the hood rolled up, and then the deal
Oh, there you go.
That was it, but it's got the little, the little starter zipper thing down here somewhere to prove that they see a little starter.
Yep, you had to have the starter on the zipper. But yeah, so I never got an actual starter jacket, but it was this Minnesota Twins jacket that it essentially was two jackets in one, because underneath you could take out the actual fleece, and it was really badass.
The liner jackets, yeah, okay.
It was fan-damn-tastic. So we're gonna talk about starter jackets. We're doing two drafts tonight. Actually, we're going to be doing a football draft where we're going to try and draft the ultimate skill position trio. So that's going to be quarterback, receiver, running back. You can go with a tight end if you would like as a receiver, but that's going to be the three that we're going there. Then we're going to do a 90s trivia, and then we're going to do a movie draft of movies that were released in 1994. So that's all the stuff that we have coming up this evening. Of course, the first thing we got to get to, though, is our YouTube polls. The last one that we covered last week, that was on Wednesday, that I'm going to bring up again. Get some more votes in there. It was the you can hang out with one rock star for a night. Which rock star are you choosing? And the options were Dave Grohl, James Hetfield, Paul McCartney, and Weird Al Yankovic. Do you guys remember who was winning the poll last week?
I don't know, but if you hang out with Dave Grohl, you might end up pregnant and have an...
Yeah, that's changed this week with the new rules. I remember Weird Al was in the lead for a little bit there.
Weird Al actually still in the lead right now.
All right.
Okay. He's got 35%, Dave Grohl 31%, and then James Hetfield 17, Paul McCartney 16. Next on the list, who is the best grunge lead singer?
Oh,
Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder, Kurt Cobain, or Lane Staley? Icky, working in radio for so many years, I'll let you go first. Who do you think won this poll?
I think Chris Cornell probably, mainly because of his vocal talent, but also he's, well, I guess Lane's deceased as well, but Chris stands out for me.
Well, 3 of the 4 are dead.
What was the other one?
Kurt Cobain.
Oh, Kurt Cobain. He wouldn't be on top of my list for vocals.
Yeah. All right, and Frank, who do you think?
Bob Cousy.
It's not Bob Cousy.
It's it's got to be Cornell.
He's going with Cornell, and no. Chris Cornell coming in second. Kurt Cobain.
Wow.
53% of the people voted for Kurt Cobain, 22 for Chris Cornell, 17 for Lane Staley, only 7 for Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, it's kind
Well,
of like
that's
a
not
flip
too
of what I thought it
surprising.
would be.
Yeah, it Kurt's the easy answer, so I kind of get that.
Yeah, but I mean, if I see, I don't know if I maybe worded it differently or something. Like my vote, obviously, like you guys said, Chris Cornell, hands down. Like for vocals, the dude was amazing.
Have you seen the clip of the kid who talks about for the longest time he thought the name was Kirko Bane? He didn't realize the guy's name was Kurt Cobain, and he was calling him Kirko Bane.
Well, his name's Kurt,
blew-
not Kirk.
Yeah, and it blew his mind to find out that his name was Kurt Cobain.
All right, next poll I put up. This was last Friday.
This young generation sucks.
And
Well, just to think that Kirko in general is an acceptable
It's a
name,
yeah.
well, I'm telling you, I want to start feeding kids like
Bleach.
weird lingo and to see if it takes off. Because, you know, we covered that in a live stream where like Skibbity and Sig, which, by the way, misuse the term Sigma, you will make a Gen Alpha kid's head explode. It is hilarious. I did a whole post about the language, and I said like a Sigma is basically like an alpha. It's like the leader, and like and they're like, it's nothing like an alpha, man. It's so much better than an alpha. I got so many angry comments from like 12-year-old kids that were pissed that I compared a Sigma to an alpha.
Like a Dragon
You're
Ball
so
Z
angry at 12. Your life is still good. Calm down.
I don't know. The internet. That's the only thing I can think of. The internet has just made them angry.
Yeah, routed their brains.
Also, really quick, Vero, hello in the chat. Anna, hello in the chat. Hope you guys are doing well. Next poll I put up, this one was last Friday in regards to Beetlejuice. Are you going to go see it in the theater? And it was just a simple yes or no. Frank, which one do you think won?
I'm pretty sure it was yes, because that movie did really well.
All right. Icky?
I'm also saying yes. I mean, 110 million opening weekend. That's a huge weekend.
No.
Oh,
Oddly enough, it was close. 56% of the people said no. 44% said yes. I do still want to go see it in the theater, although I'm hearing very mixed reviews on it.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, if you love the first one, you're going to enjoy the new one. It's just 2 hours of nostalgia, which sign me up.
I'm good for that. God, I still remember. Do you remember me getting permission from Al to leave during my shift, and you and I went and watched Star Wars Episode 3?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yes. Yeah.
It was right before I was moving to Florida, and I went to our boss at the time, Al, and I was like, and I'm like, come on, man, let me record my shift, and Icky and I are gonna go check out Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. And he was like, fine, go ahead. And we were like, fuck yeah.
I think it's only because it was Star Wars. So if it was any other movie, he would have said no.
Oh yeah, hands down. Yeah, because remember Batman Begins came out right around that same time. I would be willing to bet if I'd asked to see that, he'd be like, hell no, see it over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next.
I think Batman falls into a similar category, but yeah.
True, but I don't think Batman Begins was comparable until after it kind of came out. The expectation of Revenge of the Sith is this is an epic movie where we get to find out, like, really
Who
how
Anakin
Darth Vader
becomes?
becomes Darth Vader.
The
Yeah, and
actual
how
transition.
yeah, and how what's her face gets knocked up.
How
Natalie
she
Portman.
dies of a broken heart, basically.
Exactly.
Nothing else.
All right, next YouTube poll. This one is related to our movie draft from last week, which was the rock and roll movie draft. And I put up there, what is the best rock and roll movie of all time? And the options I put up there were Almost Famous, That Thing You Do, The Doors, and This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh, Lord.
Icky, which one do you think won the poll?
Almost Famous.
Icky's going Almost Famous. Frank?
I'm going to crank it to 11 and say Spinal Tap.
Oh, we got a point on the board.
Ah.
Frank. 46% of people actually voting for This Is Spinal Tap, 24% for The Doors, 21% for Almost Famous, and just 9% for That Thing You Do. And that's such a good movie.
Yeah,
It's a
but
great movie.
Man, there's a line in that movie that's it's Steve Zahn, where they're at the fair and they're interviewing them as a band, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not here with these fellas. I got a pigging competition over at the livestock pavilion, and I am gonna win that blue ribbon this year." Like, it's just so out of left field, but it's so well delivered, and it's just hilarious.
If you look at everyone else's reactions when he does that, it seems like that was not the plan. That was off the cuff.
improvised. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good though. Like that was always embedded in my brain. All right, next YouTube poll was, what is the best Price is Right game ever? Of course, this goes to the us talking about Price is Right last week. So the four options I put up there were cliffhangers. Remember the little yodeler? That guy. The dice game, Plinko, and Punch a Bunch. That was the one where they had the board with all the dollar signs, and you would go punch through it, and you got whatever was inside there. Frank, which one do you think won the poll?
Well, before, did you see the one guy's comment about why Drew Carey didn't react to the guy?
Yeah,
correctly?
I like.
The guy that nailed the showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently, like the guy did research and found prices from around the state of California, so he knew exactly what the prices would be. So that from that point on, like the show will change or get different weeks of prices, so people can't go out and find the prices of things beforehand.
Well, but I'm
that
also
was
wondering if
something
he was mixing up people, because there's a whole documentary on this guy that did that, where he watched The Price is Right every day and he kept a spreadsheet. I think it's on
Right.
Netflix, and it's a fascinating documentary because this dude, he's a little bit out there, but like he was telling people what to bid and he nailed every single bid. I had never heard that about this guy, so I was wondering in that comment if the person was mixing up
Confused.
the two.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
and on top of that, apparently a few years ago, there was somebody who was $1 off on their Showcase Showdown. And somebody at Screen Crush, I think it was like, this was the greatest Showcase Showdown ever, or bid ever. And I'm like, no, it wasn't, because somebody actually got one exactly right. Like, do your research, bro. I'm gonna be that guy.
I'm gonna go with Klinko.
Going Plinko. All right, Icky,
Plinko.
which one are you going with? We got
I'm also
cliffhangers.
saying Plinko.
Oh.
It can't be a secondary Plinko.
Yeah, not even close. 72% of the vote went with Plinko. All right, next YouTube poll was in regards to football of this last weekend. And I wrote, how much football did you watch this weekend? First option was all of it, and I need more. Not all, but most. Just a, fucking typo in there. Just a one or two games. Or none
Yeah.
at all. Football sucks. Icky, what do you think won the poll?
I'm gonna go the second one. Like, I watched. What was the second option? I watched
Not
a lot,
all, but
not all of
most.
it.
Okay.
That one.
All right. Frank, what do you think won the poll?
I don't know. It was some decent college games on this weekend, and then Pro Star. I'm just gonna go with the first one, all of it, because there was some decent games this weekend.
I hit the wrong button. It's supposed to be a no. Actually, 53% of the people voted for none at all.
Wow.
Oh.
Got a lot of nerds to
Wow.
watch your
Apparently. Yeah, I didn't realize there were so many people that didn't watch football on my channel. All right, this next one here, we got to pay homage to the great James Earl Jones. And the poll was, what's your favorite James Earl Jones role? Darth Vader, King Jaffe Jafar, Mr. Myrtle, if you remember, that was the gentleman at the end of The Sandlot who gives the kids the ball, or Mufasa. Frank, who do you think won the poll?
Well, I liked it when he was in Field of Dreams, but with all these kids, I'm gonna probably go Mufasa.
All right. Icky?
It's hard to pick. Instinctively, I'm gonna go Darth Vader just because that's the most famous of his roles.
Ichabod with the point. Yeah, it was pretty handily Darth Vader, 66%. Did you guys see what the Empire State Building did?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Oh, I got goosebumps seeing that thing. And I had so I posted it on my Facebook and Instagram page. I had to go in and I wanted to confirm that it was real because it almost looked photoshopped because it was so amazing looking. But if you haven't seen that, go to my Instagram or Facebook page at The Real Brandalorian, and you can see the post up there of what they did on the Empire State Building for Darth Vader. All right, final YouTube poll. Put this one up today. I was a little late in getting it up too because I just could not think of a freaking poll. But then I just randomly thought of this. Who should play Blade in the MCU? Wesley Snipes or Mahershala Ali? Who do you think won the poll, Icky?
Wesley Snipes.
All right, Frank?
Yeah, because everybody just watched Deadpool. All that, so you know it's gonna be Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, you both get the point on that one. It was pretty handily Wesley Snipes. 84% of people saying that they want to see Wesley Snipes return.
That movie's been in like pre-production for 6 years now, or something like that.
because motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. Just saying. Oh man, did you both go see Deadpool in the theater?
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, it's really good. It's really, really good.
Well, I hear nothing but good things. I'm just really lazy when it comes to going to theaters, and
Yeah.
I hit the point now where a lot of the spoilers have been ruined for me. So I'm like, I'll get it to do what I can.
Yeah, that was one. So it was when it hit theaters. I was in Portland, and I went with my buddy Alan, who's usually on the stream. And I was texting with him yesterday. He's going to be coming back. He's just working on a scheduling conflict right now. But he and I went, and as we were going there, he's like, I had one spoiler spoiled for me, like one cameo spoiled for me, and it was the Human Torch one. And the whole time he was like, I'm not really sure how much it's going to play into it or what it's going to mean. And then after that, he was like, when we saw the movie and everything was done, he's like, I didn't care that I actually had it spoiled for me a little bit because it was still a fantastic movie. So that's all the YouTube polls. You can find those over on my YouTube channel. If you're here, again, make sure you're liking, subscribing. I think I still have this set up. We can cover up Frank's face with this. There you go. Look at that. We just cover up Frank's face with the old subscribe right there. Make sure you click in a thumbs up. Share this stuff out there. Get it out to the people of what we do here on the channel.
People.
And you can find it if you go to my YouTube channel. Now, Anna was saying last week, it's still under community. Mine says posts. But either way, when you're right on the channel, you'll see home, videos, shorts, live, and so on and so forth. If it's either community or posts, click on that and you can actually see all of the polls and everything I put up daily right there on YouTube. So make sure you guys are checking that out. And then, of course, for all of the actual posts and stuff, you can head on over to Instagram and Facebook at The Real Brandalorian and follow me over there as well.
Speaking of community.
All right, things you didn't know about a little movie that was released in 1999. Who remembers that scene?
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. Was that
I
at
don't
the
remember
drive-through?
that scene.
Was it the drive-through?
Yeah, so this scene, that's Kevin Spacey's wife, which, by the way, I feel anytime I talk about like a Kevin Spacey character or anybody like that, or not character, but human being, we need to preface with like, he's garbage. Like, he's not a good human being in any way, shape, or form, but it doesn't mean we don't talk about the things that have already existed, but we just need to preface
Look at
that.
Dr. Disrespect. Speaking of trash people.
So this was the scene where that's his wife, and she's essentially, she was just making out with that dude next to her in the car. He's working at the drive-thru, and he busts them. And that's kind of the downfall of their marriage. But of course, we are talking about American Beauty, which was released September 17th, 1999. It made $365.3 million at the box office on just a $15 million budget. It ended up winning 5 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Cinematography. Now, there was a story in the news a few years before this that actually inspired the movie. Do you guys know what that is?
Was
Can't
it
be a good story.
the one with the teacher and the kid? Oh,
Amy Fisher and
There you
Joey
go.
Buttafuoco, which, by the way, I can never pronounce his name normally anymore. If you've ever seen News Radio, there is a whole episode where Andy Dick's character, which it's the only show he's even tolerable in ever, but he goes live on the air to talk about this story with Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco, and he screws up and he drops the F-bomb live on the air. So for the whole rest of the whole rest of the episode, he's trying to like Buttafuoco, like pronounce it properly so he doesn't drop another F-bomb. So if you're not familiar with this story, it happened in the early 90s, 1992 to be precise. At the age of 17, Amy Fisher shot and severely wounded Mary Jo Buttafuoco, Joey Buttafuoco's wife.
Now, real quickly in Andy Dick's defense, which never really happened, so I'm going to do this real fast. Two roles I can think of. One we were talking about before the show started, which is In the Army Now. That wasn't too bad.
Okay.
And then when he played the blowjob instructor in Old School, that shit was funny.
All right. You got 2 more on there. So there's a few roles that he's tolerable in. But News Radio, I thought he was fantastic, but that's also
Great show.
easily one of my favorite shows of all time. So the famous rose petal scene It was actually just supposed to be a pool. So this is the weird daydream that Kevin Spacey has about this girl, who, by the way, is in high school.
Right. Cheerleader, right?
As the cheerleader. But director Sam Mendes came up with the idea, and they ended up having to shoot it a couple of different times. They actually shot it because like it shows like the rose petals falling. They shot it 6 times slower than normal speed. So Mina Suvari had to basically flap her arms up and down like a demented butterfly because they were filming it so fast. Now, if you remember the poster, like this was one, but this is the one that most people probably remember.
Yeah.
That is the stomach of
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. No, it's model Chloe Hunter, actually. There's a lot of people who thought it was Mina Suvari, but it's actually Chloe Hunter's stomach on that. Now, the role of Angela, which was played by Mina Suvari, and this is obviously that rose petal scene where you got that, you know, busting through there, and then it's Kevin Spacey's whole weird daydream about being a perv, which art, I guess, imitating life. That role was originally offered to Kirsten Dunst. And she turned it down, saying later, quote, "I was only 15 then, and I didn't want to kiss Kevin Spacey or be seen lying naked in those rose petals." So,
Fair.
good job for Kirsten Dunst.
She then went and kissed a guy upside down in Spider-Man.
That's true. That is true. Although I believe she was a couple years older at that point. Now, if you want to get even grosser here on this one, and yes, I'm talking about even grosser than Kevin Spacey's character, perving on a 17-year-old, Thora Birch. She needed parental permission to go topless in her one scene that's in this movie because she was 17 years old.
Dr. Disrespect loves this movie, by the way, probably.
She said, to me, the scene made sense. It wasn't something that wouldn't be in there. It's something that would happen. Or it wasn't something that shouldn't be in there. It was something that would happen. Now, I'm not for going back and editing things from movies. You know how they talk about like they're like one of the famous ones was from E.T. when the one cop had the shotgun at the roadblock scene and they like changed it to a walkie-talkie or something. I think we would all be perfectly fine if we edited a scene where she's showing her 17-year-old breasts. Am I right?
Fair.
And finally, the cheerleading scene was choreographed by Paula Abdul.
Andy Dick. Oh.
Now that would have been some amazing trivia that you probably didn't know about American Beauty. Next up, things you didn't know about one of my favorite shows of all time, Community. Have either of you watched any or all of it?
I've never seen an episode.
I watched most of it mainly because of Allison Brie.
She was fantastic. One of my favorite scenes is when they play Dungeons and Dragons and she ends up the character Hector the Well-Endowed because they just randomly grab the character sheets and it's her describing what she is doing to a like a handmaiden or something that they're trying to get horses from, and she's like whipping it out and she's like slapping that at, and she's like 2 to 3, 4 fingers, but there's no sound, so it's her just like it's her miming the whole thing because there's music playing. It's brilliant. That episode, by the way, not available on Netflix or Hulu.
There you go.
Do you know why?
Got the Disney Plus treatment.
Do you know why?
No.
Because
Andy Dick.
No, not because of Andy Dick. Because Ken Jeong, right here, they felt he looked like he was in blackface because he was dressed up like a drow, which is a dark elf.
Okay.
Honest to God.
So that's a no, but the 17-year-old boobs is fine.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, that's where we're at this point. And for all I know, they may have edited out the American Beauty one. But yeah, so that's legitimate. Because I remember, this is one of those, do you guys have those shows that you go watch over and over again? And even if you're doing something else, you kind of keep it on in the background, like especially like you're cleaning your house or something.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So this is one of the shows that I do this with frequently, especially if if I'm falling asleep at night and you know that you don't have to actively be watching because you've already seen it 1,000 times. Community is one of those shows for me. And I was going through the show about a year ago, And I was really excited to get to the Dungeons and Dragons episode because it's one of my favorite episodes. It's not there. Even Yvette Nicole Brown, who plays Shirley, she's like, there's no reason that should be banned. Like, there's no reason that shouldn't be available out there.
Welcome to woke culture.
So I really need to clip that.
Andy Dick.
So Community debuted back on September 17th, 2009. The show was based on creator Dan Harmon's experiences at community college, and I myself, as a community college graduate, can agree this is what all of your classes look like in community college. It is a mishmash of everything. In the opening episode, the dean is going through all of the different types of people that go to community college, and it's the failed quarterback, the single mom, the old guy trying to keep his brain, active. Honest to God, every single class you take in community college, you will have these people there. So he hit the nail on the head. Now, the problems between Chevy Chase and Dan Harmon, those are pretty well documented.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there well-documented issues between Chevy Chase and every single person he's ever worked with?
That's true. And actually, I jumped ahead. I skipped one part here real quick. So some of the characters on the show were actually based on other fictional characters. So Jeff Winger, played by the great Joel McHale, was based on John Winger, Bill Murray in Stripes.
There you go.
Now, Annie Edison, played by the great Allison Brie, who, by the way, also just got cast as Evil Lynn in the new live-action He-Man.
All right.
So be looking for that. Annie Edison, she was modeled after Tracy Flick from Election. And obviously, if you've seen either of those movies and you've watched Community, you can tell to a T exactly where this was coming from. So back to what I was talking about before, the problems between Dan Harmon and Chevy Chase were pretty well documented. I mean, there was one point where on Harmontown, which was Dan Harmon's podcast that he would do live, he was playing like a voicemail from Chevy Chase in front of the rest of the crowd and stuff. I mean, it was insane how much these two didn't get along. And as much as Icky, you said that Chevy Chase not getting along with people is a pretty common occurrence, it's also the same thing for Dan Harmon. There's a really good documentary. It's either called Welcome to Harmontown or it's called Harmontown. And it's about him when he got fired, which we'll get to here in a bit, from Community. He took his podcast on the road and he was traveling around doing live shows of his podcast. And they brought in all of these other like pretty famous people who have worked with him before, including like Sarah Silverman. And she has this one quote in there where she says, "He's a brilliant writer, but I've never had anybody make me feel as bad about who I am as he has."
Well, didn't he get in trouble for a lot of stuff while he was doing Rick and Morty and had to be kicked off the show?
No, that was
the other guy.
No, that was Justin Roiland.
Okay. He was one of them.
Yeah, no, Justin Roiland was the one that ended up getting busted for all kinds of weird, creepy stuff.
Ren and Stimpy stuff.
Pretty close.
Now, when they kicked him off Community, is that when the show kind of had a shift and declined a little bit?
Yeah, so it was, and actually I'll go into this a little bit more at the end. So it was after season 3. So season 4, he wasn't the showrunner. And you can tell, like, it's just, you can tell it was somebody trying to write as Dan Harmon. Like, it just wasn't coming off. But he then ended up getting hired back on for season 5. But we'll get to that here in just a minute. Now, Harmon has revealed that there were some other people in mind to play Pierce, which was played by Chevy Chase. And that included Fred Willard, who actually came in and played Pierce in a daydream sequence, oddly enough.
Did we find out he's a chomo, though?
Who? Fred Willard?
In life? Yeah.
Was he?
Didn't that happen?
Oh, Google it. John Cleese was also thought of for the role, and Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. I think John Cleese would have been fantastic in that.
So there's one such issue that came up in the episode Digital Estate Planning. This is a great episode where they are in an 8-bit video game. And they end up going up against Giancarlo Esposito, actually. He's kind of the bad guy in this episode. So there was supposed to be an end scene where Abed hands Pierce a thumb drive that has the game loaded on it. But for some reason, Chevy just didn't want to record that scene, so they didn't get to it. He just refused to do it because he didn't want to do it.
Don't want to do it.
And I'm telling you, that episode is a fantastic episode. If you haven't seen Community, go watch it. Because there's also, as we were talking about Beetlejuice earlier, I don't know if you guys know this, but there is kind of a secret Beetlejuice Easter egg where throughout the first season, they say Beetlejuice in different episodes. And the third time it comes up in that season, Beetlejuice walks in the background. So he shows up on the third time.
Is it actually Keaton, or is it just someone dressed up?
No, it's just somebody dressed up as him, because it's by the time they say it the third time, it's during a Halloween party. So they're in their study hall, and then somebody behind them is dressed up as Beetlejuice. So they're like, who is it, Beetlejuice? And then you see this dude walk behind as Beetlejuice. And I love when shows do that, when everything's kind of intertwined.
They're always good at the Halloween episodes. They were all good.
Loved those Halloween episodes. Let me see here. Where was I? Oh, Troy and Pierce were actually supposed to be the original Troy and Abed. You know how they had Troy and Abed in the morning, that whole thing? Well, Danny Pudi and Donald Glover actually ended up becoming really good friends in real life. So the script kind of shifted over to it being Troy and Abed instead of Troy and Pierce.
All right.
Now, writing the character of Abed, which was played by Danny Pudi, ended up leading to Dan Harmon finding out that he got diagnosed with autism.
All right.
Because that's kind of one of the whole things with Abed is that he believed that he's on the spectrum. And as he was writing this character, Dan Harmon kind of had that revealed to him a little bit. The writers also had a whole backstory for Chang that involved him having psychotic breaks, coming in the form of his sister's ghost telling him to be evil. And the story was that he ate his sister in utero. Which they mentioned in the show. Like I believe, if I remember correctly, he does bring it up in the show. They just never went down that path. And then finally, Joel McHale has been given credit for getting Harmon hired back. Like we were talking about with Dan Harmon getting fired from the show after season 3. It was basically for his management style, is what they said.
All right.
And then Harmon ended up getting hired back for season 4 because McHale insisted that he get his job back. And if you go and you watch the series, season 4 is still good, but it's not up to the standard of all of the other seasons with Dan Harmon. Also, by the way, seasons 5 and 6, highly underrated. Very highly underrated. Next up on things you didn't know. It's the Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die, released September 13th, 1994. It has been certified 6 times platinum as of April 2018. It featured the singles Juicy, Big Papa, and One More Chance. You guys familiar with this album? You got it on a regular repeat?
No,
I thought it was so cool when I had this album.
I remember it being out.
Okay.
I wasn't really begin to rap at that time, but I remember it coming out.
Okay, so Icky, was it cassette or CD?
The first time I had it was a cassette, and then my mom discovered that I was listening to it when she wasn't home and broke it. And because of that bitch Tipper Gore and the whole parental advisory thing, I had to go shoulder tap someone in Fred Meyer to get a new one, and that one was a CD.
So how did you get the original cassette tape then?
From my boyfriend's, or my sister's boyfriend.
Wait, what?
The same guy who gave me my first Rage Against This Machine tape was the first guy that gave me this one.
Gotcha. I thought we were about to find out more about you than we ever knew.
Yeah, he just outed himself.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even in.
Yeah, I
My
remember.
sister's high school boyfriend was one of my musical leaders for about a year.
I remember it was the Fred Meyer down on Johnson Creek in 82nd, and I went in to buy, I can't even remember what the album was, but it had a parental advisory sticker on it, and the person behind the counter wouldn't fucking sell it to me, even though I was 18. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you need to be 21. And I'm like, who the fuck said that?
Yeah, that's not the rule.
I'm like, give me the fucking CD.
Thought you were a poser.
So I left and then came back when somebody else was working, and they sold it. Actually, no, I take it back. I went to the warehouse over on Sunnyside and bought it over there. Go to hell, Fred
Yeah.
Meyer.
Tower Records would sell it to a 9-year-old. They don't care.
There you
We
go.
had, yeah,
Or
we had a place called Vinyl Fever here in town where it was a bunch of stoners that worked there, and you could basically they did not care if you were underage. They would sell you the stuff.
Vinyl Fever.
Vinyl Fever, right over there by the college. It smelled like a bunch of stoners. It had that, crusty 90s smell going in it. There was
Ugh.
long-haired guys with tie-dye and Grateful Dead t-shirts, Doors posters everywhere. I mean, I'm sure they was blazing up in the
That's the best
employee
kind of
room.
music store to go to.
Oh, man.
They still exist because you're going to get a real recommendation from
Nah,
someone
they,
there.
they
Yeah.
went out of business about 15 years ago. That was like
Okay.
besides Walmart, but they wouldn't sell the stuff with language there, so
No.
everybody went to Vinyl Fever.
No, man, I think he's right. Like, those were the stores that you wanted to go. I was always like Empire Records. I was always jealous. Like, I went in when I first turned 16, and my dad's like, "You need to get a job." And I was like, okay. I would go apply, and I never got hired at any of these record stores. And I'm like, I would get upset where I'm like, these pretentious douchebags aren't letting me into their club. All I want to do is work at a record store, and I never got to.
Yeah, I did one of those. I bought the Britney Spears album, and like I remember the guy looking at it and looking at me and just going. He's just like sold it for us. Like he was completely judging me on like all this.
See, that's the thing. Kids these days aren't going to know what it was like to have to go and purchase an actual album. You can just go stream a song, and if you
And
don't
be
like it, you just
judged.
don't. Yeah, you just don't listen to it again. I had a friend. He went in and bought Big Willie Styles by Will Smith, and as we were driving back to his house, we were listening to it, and we were like, "Dude, this sucks." So he went to return it, and they were like, "No, you can't return
already
a CD."
opened it.
Yeah, he's like, "You already opened
already
it." And he's like,
opened
"No,"
it,
he's like, "Take it back," and they obviously they wouldn't take it back. So
Well, even on top of that, instead of just albums, you had to do that for concert tickets too, and actually walk up to the Ticketmaster counter and be like, "Yes, I'd like 2 tickets for NSYNC, please."
Or wait for like when the tickets go on sale. Show up at a GI Joe's or wherever they were selling the tickets
I
at
miss those
Ticketmaster.
days. Actually, like camping out in front of the store to get the right seats. Those were the glory days.
We still had people down here in El Paso that would do that. When Metallica came here back in 2019, the tickets were going on sale, and we legitimately sent somebody that worked with the show down to the Ticketmaster at the Don Haskins Center where the concert was going to go on, and there was a line of people down there.
Yeah.
Because we're still like, as cool as El Paso is, it's still kind of 20 years ago, which also makes it even cooler because there's a lot of stuff like that goes on. But back to Biggie here. While recording the album, he was asked who his biggest competition in the rap game was. His answer was Redman.
Oh,
Not what you would expect. And then he also admitted that on the song The What, which is on Ready to Die, Method Man has a better verse than he does.
well, he's right.
Well, what they were all like, weren't they all from like the same borough? Like weren't they all from Brooklyn?
Well,
Or
no.
Bronx?
Wu-Tang's from
Harlem.
Staten.
Harlem.
Wu-Tang was from Staten Island, and like Redman was from Jersey. He's from the Bricks.
But New York had that culture up there to where they like rappers all kind of knew each other because of the rap, the culture that had developed in a New York style. I thought like a lot of them kind of were aware, and it was like
Yeah.
Jay-Z knew a lot of them went before he hit it big from just.
Yeah, and remember, there's also
the rap community was so small at that point that all 5
Yeah.
boroughs are probably working together just to get something going.
and this was also right around that time when there was the beginning of the whole East Coast West Coast feud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and finally, the album ends with the song "Suicidal Thoughts." And it obviously ends up with Biggie committing suicide by gun. P. Diddy was adamant about not including this song, but Biggie ended up getting his way to wrap up the album with that song. Now, obviously, the way Diddy's life is wrapping up.
Yeah.
Where is he right now, by the way?
I don't know, but he just lost like a court case, I think, up in Ohio for like $100 million for some inmate claiming that Diddy drugged him and apparently did butt stuff to him while he was drugged. So
They call it the Diddy Diddle.
yeah, so I don't know like where he is, but he's getting sued left and right.
Oh, Jesus. More things you didn't know. Another one of my favorite shows, Archer. Love this show. Absolutely love the show. It debuted September 17th, 2009. So think about this, because we also talked about Community. Also debuted September 17th, 2009. It's a very good day for television that day. So the idea for the show came up while creator Adam Reed was in Spain, and somebody had given him a collection of James Bond paperbacks. And one day, there was a beautiful woman in a cafe that ignored him, and he didn't know how to approach her. But he had the thought of the kind of character that would, a spy. And hence, Archer was born. The original name of the show, however, was actually Duchess. Do you guys know who Duchess was?
His mom's dog.
His mom's dog!
Yeah.
Yeah! Icky coming in strong! Yeah, it was Mallory's Afghan hound. Now, of course, Mallory, being Archer's mom, she was inspired by Dame Judi Dench from the James Bond movies, actually. Although I think...
Funny.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the funny thing about that Archer show was, like, I didn't watch the first season, but some guy I worked was like, you got to check it out. So I started watching the second season, and I just remember, I remember, like, the main Archer, his voice... I was like, holy crap, it's the dude from Adult Swim from that cartoon, and it was such a great cartoon. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, that's the coach. I was like, it threw me for, and then when I actually found out what he looked like,
Oh,
it
don't
even
worry.
blew my mind even more.
We're going to be getting to that here. I'm so glad you brought that up, because we are going to be getting to that here in just a minute. Because, of course, you're talking about the one and only H. John Benjamin.
Yeah.
With just the voice of the gods, man.
Bob of Bob's Burgers.
And he played Chris's boss in Family Guy as well.
Yep.
Now, FX, which is the show that aired Archer, they wanted a handsome, dramatic actor to voice Archer. But Reed and the other creators, they kept pushing for John Benjamin. What they ended up doing is they sent a video to FX of Archer in his full suit, looking all dapper, talking to kids about showing them a dead body. The audio came from...
Yep.
Home Movies.
Home Movies.
Where
That's
he played
right.
Coach,
I love that cartoon.
Coach John McGurk. And so they took the audio from that, and then they animated Archer around it, and then FX was sold. And I was watching some of these clips earlier today. It's ridiculously funny, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculously funny. And then at the time, John Benjamin... he was visiting his parents in Arizona, and he was told, hey, you got to get to a recording studio to record the pilot. So he had to do a bunch of legwork to go find a recording studio in Tucson to record the pilot for the episode. Now, one of my favorite characters on the show, Cheryl,
Yeah.
voiced by the great Judy Greer, she
Yep.
wasn't supposed to be a regular character. There was going to be a running joke that Archer kept getting Mallory's secretaries pregnant. And so they would dose them with sleeping gas and then drop them off at the steps of Bellevue Hospital with no ID or memory of what happened.
Good Lord.
Like, that's a really funny plot line, but Cheryl was great. Cheryl is just amazing.
Little sex addict.
Now, we're going to get creepy here again. FX standards and
Kevin
practices did have
You got
some
a theme
issues.
going today with the creepiness.
I know. When I was writing these notes out, I'm like, God, this isn't going well. Because there was a few issues with the show, one of which had Archer throwing a baby to disarm an assassin. And then the other one had to do with the season premiere of season 2, and you remember her name?
The android.
The heiress.
Anka
Oh, yeah,
Schlotz.
Andrew. Yeah, that's right.
She's not the Andrew. She's just the really slay 16-year-old.
Underage. Yeah, the underage. Yeah.
Icky gets another point for that one. Yeah, it's Anka
Was she
Schlotz.
German, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr.
So,
Disrespect's favorite episode.
Jesus, with you and Dr. Disrespect, my God. She was
Well, if you-
originally, so she was 16, which is still technically underage, but she was originally going to be 14 because Reed, the creator of the show, did some research, basically Googling, and he found that 14 years old is the age of consent in Germany.
All right.
And that's where the standards and practices at FX were like, you got to up her age. And then even then, they only upped it to 16 years old. Now, here is a really cool factoid for Archer. Obviously, you remember Mallory. Remember who that gentleman is next to her right there?
What was his name? She married him basically for the money.
The car dealer guy. Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Cadillac. He owns a Cadillac dealership.
Yeah! Vicky with another point. Ron Cadillac. Ron Cadillac was his name. Now, here's the really interesting fact. The voices of these two characters were married in real life.
Yep. And he was actually Jennifer's father in
Friends. Yep. So it's Jessica Walter and Ron Liebman, who played Rachel's dad in Friends. Also, if you've ever seen Garden State, he plays a therapist in Garden State as well. Now, they married back in 1983. Unfortunately, both of them have passed away. He passed away in 2019, and she passed away in 2021.
Now, I do need to say that this is not Jessica or Walter's best performance, really, because Arrested Development's got to take the cake as her best role ever.
Yeah, and also the fact that she was the mom in Dinosaurs. I mean, think about all the mother characters. She was the mom in Dinosaurs. She was Mallory Archer, and she was also was it Lucille Bluth?
Yep.
In oh my God, I forget how good that show was. That show is amazing. And finally, for the show Archer, the American Tinnitus Association was happy with the show because obviously you have him dealing with tinnitus after Lana fires the gun right behind him with no ear protection. Do you guys remember what he did after she did that?
Mop.
And you both get a point. Mop.
I have terrible hearing and tinnitus, so that hits home for me for sure.
I have like every other episode. It would go mop.
I
love the Burt Reynolds episode though. That was fantastic.
There's a clip from the show that they use on one of the sports shows that I watch that's from Portland called Primetime with Isaac and Suk. And it's when they go into what they call the club hour. And it's where he's talking about, she's like, how and why are you drunk at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. or something like that? And he's like, well, the how is pretty obvious. And the why is, I thought we were leaving at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Ergo, Latin, I'd have time to sleep it off. Like, it's just, his voice and the writing of that show was just so freaking brilliant. So there's some things you didn't know about Archer. One more to get to here. Things you didn't know about starter jackets. Look at those. That's vintage right there. You want to show yours again there, Frank? You want to show me your Florida State one?
That's the version I had, the puffy one with the front flap.
See, that was the big one. Yeah, that one was like the big deal.
This is just a windbreaker.
So the product began all the way back in 1971 when David Beckerman borrowed $50,000, used $25,000 of his own savings to open Starter. And Beckerman originally hired just one salesperson to sell satin bowling jackets.
That's hideous.
And it was only to 3 states, Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. However, his goal was to get licensed sports apparel because at the time it was difficult to find official gear. Like, he felt that you should be able to walk into a store and buy a Yankees jacket or Yankees t-shirts, and it wasn't readily available back then. So the first license came in 1976, and it was baseball. Major League signed on for $500,000. But Beckerman wanted more. He didn't just want official apparel. He wanted authentic apparel. Do you guys know what the difference is?
Approved by the league, I would imagine?
No, because official apparel is still approved by the league. Authentic apparel is what the teams and managers and coaches wear. Yeah, okay. So that's what makes it authentic. And so it means that they would actually be wearing it. And one of his first converts to start rocking the starter stuff was Joe Torre, because at the time he was actually the manager for the New York Mets.
The Mets photo is just not good.
But he apparently
drinking a lot.
He knew he was friends with one of the truck drivers that delivered starter gear, and so he was one of the first guys to actually start wearing starter material. What's that, Frank?
So he got his cut.
He did. He probably did. Now, licenses for the NBA and NHL quickly followed Major League Baseball, but the big deal came in 1983 with the NFL. Now, there was a series of really strange events that happened back in the 80s. There was a warehouse fire, a hurricane, a tornado, and all of those caused inventory losses. There was also an overseas shipment that contained 250 pieces of lice-infested merchandise.
Nice.
Yikes.
And yet still they were unstoppable. And they had one of the more brilliant marketing campaigns. And not marketing campaign, just really marketing move. Because at the time, how were people wearing their caps? Kind of 80s into the 90s. Backwards.
Yep.
So what did they do? They put their logo on the back. So when somebody's wearing the cap, you see the starter logo right there.
You want me to really upset people watching right now?
Ooh, yes.
If you're a guy over the age of 12 and you still wear your hat backwards, loser.
Let me clip that.
Now, I will, the one exception I'll make with that backwards hat, because I do this, is when I'm golfing. I turn it around.
Yeah. I also always do that when
Sports-related.
when I'm doing stuff and I don't want my hair getting in my face.
Clearly.
I did get bitched at one time. We were because back in high school I actually did have hair and actually had long hair. And I remember we were playing basketball and I played on the baseball team and I had my hat turned around backwards, and one of the coaches from like up above the gym, he was like, "Hey coach, you get that cap turned around the right way." I was like fucking yelling at me, and I'm like, dude, like let's pump the brakes there, Tiger. It's not that serious. It's a goddamn baseball cap. But anyway, so in 1991, the brand was doing $200 million a year in sales. And this is when you started to hear about kids getting robbed and sometimes even killed for their gear. I remember getting this issue of Sports Illustrated.
I remember seeing it and seeing all the news reports about all that stuff going on.
Yeah, it was.
I remember getting a talking to from my parents, which is if someone does that, it's just give them to it. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I think mine kind of had the same thing. They're like, if you have anything that somebody wants, just give it to them. It's not worth your life. And there was a story about a kid named Damian Burgess. He was a 12-year-old. He owned and loved a $69 Syracuse starter jacket, but he told reporters he knew better than to wear it after dark. That's what times were like back then, my man.
Well, there was that whole thing too, where it was like certain colors were like perceived as gang
if it was
colors,
gang
and there were
related,
people
yeah.
getting shot, for wearing like. I saw like a documentary in '94 about some gangs in Arkansas, and there was like a lot of them wearing Florida State gear, and the reason why they were wearing it was because it was red, and they were like blood members, and so they were wearing it and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they had those conversations at our school too. I can tell you right now though, where there was no gang activity, Clackamas, fucking Oregon.
Or Tallahassee, Florida.
So the downfall of Starter actually happened right around 1994. Can you guys think of what event started to cause the downfall of Starter?
FUBU.
No. But you remember what FUBU stands for?
Andy Dick.
Do you remember what FUBU stands for?
Fuck you by us.
No.
For you by us?
Yeah.
For you by us, and it was actually the baseball strike of 1994. No baseball, nobody's wearing the gear. Sales started to plummet. The company ended up filing for bankruptcy in 1999. And finally, Beckerman got out of the business, moved into real estate. The company has changed hands a couple of times, including Nike purchasing it in 2004, and then ultimately was bought by Iconics in 2007, where it is still owned.
All right.
So that is Starter. All right. Now here is going to be an interesting one because I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. So I'm hoping I downloaded enough pictures here because you guys could go really rogue on me. Because what we're going to do is we're going to draft the ultimate skilled position trio in the NFL. So we're talking quarterback, receiver, receiver, running back. You can draft in any order. You just need one of each of those positions. Your receiver can be a tight end if you want it to be.
Ooh.
I know. I went rogue on you there. And Icky is in the lead, so Icky will get to pick first. Icky, who is your first choice?
Wow, pressure's on. Okay. In the tradition of fantasy football style, I shouldn't go quarterback first.
Not if you're going fantasy.
I'm going to go running back, actually, because I want to pick Barry Sanders.
Oh,
Nice.
damn it, dude. Oh, I wanted Sanders, man. He was the whole reason that I was a Detroit Lions fan back in the early 90s. Heartbreaking to be a Lions fan, obviously, back then. And obviously that shifted.
Still to this day, really.
I've been a Patriots fan now for actually since high school. So it was right after that. But yeah, so Barry Sanders, good pick. All right, Frank, who you going with? What position
I'm
you
gonna
going with?
upset you even more. I'm gonna go with Tom Brady.
Oh shit, hold on. I had you
forgot the
fucker!
pitches.
You
forgot the
fucker!
pitches.
I do
And I
have
got the-
pictures, and you distracted me while I didn't even bring up the picture of Barry Sanders. Hold on.
Now you can do Barry Sanders
That's
and
where I need to. Oh,
Tom Brady.
shut up.
And you can
There you go. Here's your Barry
fuck,
Sanders.
fuck.
Man, I'm telling you, go watch highlights of him. It was like a
Yeah,
goddamn
they're
video
fun.
game watching that dude on the field. It was insane.
The documentary out on him right now, Run Barry Run, is fantastic.
All right, hold on here. Let me. Tom
I'm gonna
Brady.
get upset now. I'm gonna do the boo-hoo face. Jim Brady, you good here?
All right. Now, I could really upset Icky
Uh-oh.
Ooh,
because
it's
I know
definitely
his
Montana.
fandom. I know where he leans, and I get to go back to back, so I could really screw.
Do it.
With it.
do it. Do it.
But I'm not going to do it.
No.
I'll pick the quarterback that I do think is giving Mr. Tom Brady a run for his money. He's still not in the stratosphere yet, but he certainly could. I'll go Kermit the Frog.
Isn't that the guy from Nebraska?
What's his last name? Raiola?
Raiola?
The
Yeah,
one-
that's the whole
have you seen him?
Yeah, they look.
Like the whole pregame game, it's like he's literally mimicking Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I think he knows. I think like they're good friends, or like family members are connected.
Still a little bit weird. Still a little bit weird. All right, so I'm going to go with Patrick
One of the
Mahomes.
favorite memes I saw online this last week was Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce at the U.S. Open, and someone commented that they look like henchmen from a bad Jason Statham movie.
Was that the one where Kelsey was wearing that weird bucket hat?
Yeah, the bucket hat with a mustache. Yeah,
See, I didn't think Statham movie. I thought like Adam Sandler's Murder Mystery 2 or Murder Mystery
Oh,
3
there
or
you go.
whatever. Like
Yeah,
it looked like
yeah.
more of a Sandler movie. All right, now I'm going to go running back for my second choice.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with one of the guys that he was one of the OG dual threat backs.
Oh,
Got to go
nice.
Marshall Falk, man. Marshall frickin' Falk. All right, Frank, you are up. You got your quarterback and Tom Brady. What are you picking next?
I hate to do this because he's a former Gator, but I'm gonna go Emmitt Smith.
Oh.
oh, good one. Good pick.
Overrated. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, in his prime, he was a great running back.
Yeah, he was on a good team. All three of those guys, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. Anywhere else, they would have been mediocre at best. I live in cowboy country.
Cowboys fans
so I
are
can-
gonna come after
I was
you
going to say,
now.
I live in cowboy country. So.
As a 49er and genuinely hating the Cowboys, fiery question. I would say like Troy Aikman would have been good elsewhere.
I don't know.
Don't disrespect the three.
All right, Icky, you get to go back to back here. Who you want? I think I know who you're going to pick. Can I say who you think you're going to pick?
Okay, yeah.
If you go Homer, I'm thinking Icky. He's already got running back Barry Sanders. I'm thinking he's probably going to go with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I think Joe Montana was the go.
Okay, so one of those is a definite, but it's
Kurt
not
Warner.
Joe Montana.
Oh,
No,
Steve
not
Young.
Joe Montana. So I'm going to go Jerry Rice first because he's the greatest wide receiver that ever existed and will ever will.
I mean, he could also arguably be the greatest football player of all time. Like with just
Absolutely.
with his statistics and how far in front of everybody he is. I mean, there's a conversation to be
There's
had.
not
there.
even a discussion of like when will they pass Jerry Rice. It's okay. Who's going to be number 2?
Yeah, who's going to get closer?
Yeah. Now for my second pick, I'm actually not going to go the 49er and shift things up here pretty big with my quarterback.
Ty
And
Detmer.
I'm
Bob
going to
Cousy.
go
Bob
by
Cousy.
someone who never got the ring he deserved, Mr. Dan Marino.
Oh, Thunder Dan. Wow, really? I would not have expected you to go Dan Marino on that. I figured if you didn't go Joe
Well-
Montana, you were going to go Steve Young.
I love both those guys, and my instincts right now are killing my heart. It's saying you should have done Joe Montana, but Dan Marino was a legend and never really had the team he deserved. I'm going with Dan.
Well, there's a lot of people in South Florida that will enjoy that pick. All right, Frank, you're up. Who's your
I
wide
have to
receiver?
go wide receiver. I'm gonna go Randy Moss.
Oh, he's mossing it. I
Mossing
damn near went with him. Where we
You have the
at?
picture of him pulling his pants down. That would be class. Ah, never
I
mind.
almost did. I almost did. The one where Joe Buck's like, how dare, like he loses his
Yeah,
mind.
everybody
It's like,
got all
really?
upset. Yeah, and you look back at it now. Really, after all the stuff they can get away with now, it's
Yeah, I was
really
like,
not
grow
that bad.
up, Joe Buck. You bitch.
Was it Joe Buck or was that Al Michaels? I thought that was a
No, it
Monday
was Joe
night game.
Buck.
Was it Joe Buck?
Yeah. Now there was a specific picture that I was looking for, and it was when Randy Moss against the Dolphins in that 2007 perfect regular season, because this obviously is we're New York Jets at home, but down on the field, I had field passes that day for that Patriots game, and I'm standing maybe 20 feet behind, like to the sideline when he catches one of his touchdown passes.
You
I
know
was
what you could
trying
have
to
done to
find-
piss off Cowboys fans even more? You could have put up the game where he dropped the 3 touchdown
Oh, yeah?
pitches on that really got him going.
All right, some other honorable mentions before we get to my final pick. Of course, we have Joe Montana right there.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, little John Elway, who I think is
Look at that stance.
he's-
Holy crap.
he looks like he's riding a Bronco.
Yeah, that's bow-legged as hell.
He for some reason is really not involved in the greatest quarterback conversations as much as he used to be. Which
Because, I mean, yeah, those Broncos.
But he's
teams
also another
towards
guy.
the end.
Yeah, those teams he was playing on were stacked, and,
Yeah.
and he had a lot of criticism early in his career for throwing the ball too hard.
Dog killer.
oh shit, that's what I was gonna do. God damn it! I didn't download the pictures. I was gonna draft the all killer team, and it was gonna be Michael Vick, Aaron Hernandez, and
O.J. Simpson?
and OJ
Okay.
Simpson. Yeah. I want to include that in the post because that was the trio that was going to be picked there. So there was another quarterback honorable mention. Of course, when we talk about the greats, you do got to bring up the old Peyton Manning and his gigantic forehead. Talking about running backs, some of the other ones that were some
Terrell
options.
Davis.
I didn't have Terrell Davis. Career was too short for me. I mean, he was great, but you want to speak of short career, you got Jim Brown.
Yeah.
There was also, I'm
He was
surprised
smart.
nobody picked LaDainian Tomlinson.
Well,
I mean-
he was on my list. I mean, but again, short career. He didn't last long, and then he got to
Yeah.
do the stupid visor thing that everyone got pissed about.
Yeah.
Well, and he was too. I mean, when you think about like electric running backs, he was more a north and south run you over kind of guy, and Barry and Emmett and all those other dudes had the crazy runs.
Oh, and I also
Oh.
forgot. I figured one of you might go really rogue on quarterback, so I did.
Otto Graham.
Randall
Oh wow,
Cunningham.
yeah, that would have been weird to pull. Okay.
Let me see who else I have here.
Fred
I got to
Williams.
draft my wide receiver. So I did mention you could bring up a tight end because if I'm picking a tight end, I'm going with Gronk 10 times
Right.
out of 10. I get how good Kelsey is. The difference is Gronk could actually block.
Yeah.
There was that the one game against the Colts where he, on the sidelines afterwards, he talks about how he threw the guy out of the club because the dude was just yapping the whole time, and he literally blocks him out of bounds and over a barricade, and ended up getting flagged for it. It was fucking great. Who else do we have here for wide receivers? Of course, you got Peyton Manning's favorite target of all time, Marvin Harrison. Watch out,
Yeah,
he's
and then
got a
you found
gun.
out he was running the block. Yeah.
Talk about short careers of somebody who
Sharp.
was really
Yeah.
stinking good, Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Sharp.
Go look at that guy's numbers, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this guy was amazing." It's just was it a neck injury? I think that ended his career.
That and I think also head injuries.
We had Tony Gonzalez, like kind of the original pass catching tight end.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple others here on other positions that I totally forgot about. We had Walter Payton. How can you forget about Sweetness?
Mhm.
That guy was awesome.
Did you by chance pull up a Bo Jackson?
I did not, but I did bring up
Speaking
little
of a short career.
Thurman. Yeah,
What
talking about
about
short career.
Calvin Johnson?
That is actually my draft pick for my wide receiver.
Anyway,
Megatron.
work done for running back.
Absolutely. All right, so here are what we drafted. Icky, his team. Quarterback, Dan Marino. Running back, Barry Sanders. Wide receiver, Jerry Rice. Frank has Tom Brady, Emmitt Smith, and Randy Moss. And I have Patrick Mahomes, Marshall Faulk, and Calvin Johnson. And that is going to do it for that. Now it is time for Little 90s
Another
trivia.
jab.
I gotta reset the set the old numbers here. There we go. It's taking far too long to get these things to reset. All right. Excuse me. Good Lord.
COVID.
COVID. All right, boys.
No,
First
no,
one to 5
True,
points wins. If your opponent misses the question, you will get a chance to steal. Each one is worth 1 point. All right, 90s trivia. Frank lost the last round, so Frank, you will get to go first, my friend.
Oh, please.
Hold on, let me get my old man glasses. God,
Yo,
I
party.
hate this so much. All right,
Just
Frank.
own it. Just own it. I
know.
see so many of your videos where you put it on halfway through. Just own it.
Oh, dude, it's actually no. The putting them on halfway through is like a shtick now. And
Okay.
people, they're like, "Why did you just leave the fucking glasses on the whole time?" It's like because it gives me something to fucking play with. Like, you know, like I can be like,
Besides my job.
yeah.
It's your lettering cards.
It is. It really, or his pencil. Remember how he used to like fling the pencil, and
yeah.
stuff? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Frank, you're up first. Question number 1. What stock car racing legend finally won his first Daytona 500 in 1992 on his 20th attempt?
Dale Earnhardt.
He won 76 Winston Cup races during his career.
I know nothing about NASCAR, but I know that about Dale Earnhardt. That's the only thing you ever hear about is Dale Earnhardt.
Do you remember his nickname?
His, no.
He was
The Intimidator.
There you go.
There it is.
Nice. Good poll.
All right, we're over to Icky. Question number 1 for you. Who was the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy in 1997?
Defensive player 97. I've see here. I can't be Troy Polamalu is too late. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know. Guess what is it?
All right, no guess.
Give
Frank,
him a-
Steele?
give him, I was gonna say you could give him a hint, but
All right,
it's
I'll give
Charles
you-
Woodson.
There you go. Charles Woodson played for Michigan. There's actually
Oh, great cornerback.
a documentary
Safety
about
eventually.
the Tuck Rule game because
Yeah.
Woodson obviously played for the Raiders.
Michigan.
Brady played for the Patriots, and they both went to Michigan.
Michigan, yeah. Even
All
I think
right.
Brady was a sophomore what at the time?
Back to Frank. Your question. You got a 2-0 lead here. What was the colorful name of the IBM computer that beat world champion Garry Kasparov in a game of chess in 1996? Hold on, I'm clipping that face, and I'm gonna cut the background out, and I'm just gonna start putting your head on all kinds of weird stuff.
Andy Dick.
It's not Andy Dick. It's also not Bob Cousy.
I don't know.
All right, no answer. Icky, you got a guess?
Was it Wilson?
No.
was a volleyball.
Deep Blue.
Deep Blue.
Yeah, that's the because remember it says
Sounds like
what
an album.
what colorful name or the movie where Samuel L.
colorful.
Jackson gets eaten by that motherfucking shark. Yeah, so at the beginning of the question is what colorful name of the IBM computer? So it's called Deep Blue. Kasparov won the 6-game match 4-2, and it says right here on the card, "Humans rejoice."
Okay.
All right, we're going back to Icky, looking for his first point on the board. What snappy early 90s kids fashion fad consisting of a thin piece of steel covered by colorful fabric was banned in schools in New York?
The snap, oh, what are those stupid things called? When you snap it on your wrist, it goes around. Was it just called a snap bracelet? Or
Yeah. I'd give that to him.
I'll give it to you. It's a slap
It had like
bracelet.
three
It's
or
technically
four.
what
It
it's
had like
called. But you're
three
right.
or
You got
four
it.
names.
Yeah.
God, I
Ah.
remember those. People complaining about they're getting cuts on their arms for smacking too hard.
Well, because people just like walk up and just smack the shit out of your arm.
Oh man, yeah, that was the best thing to do is to find somebody you hated and go put your arm out and go.
Why are you gonna go demented with it?
Sorry.
All right.
We all did it.
All right, we're back to Frank. What Irish singer's smash single "Nothing Compares to You" topped Billboard's
Cranberries.
Hot 100 chart for 4 weeks in 1990?
Cranberries.
No.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
You said 94?
No, 1990.
Why did I think 94?
Because you were talking over the question. You're like, cranberries.
I swear I thought I heard 94.
Cranberries.
That's why I ran right for cranberries.
No.
All right, my bad.
All right, here we go. What? Back to Icky. Oh, it's all tied up. Look at this. We back and forth, ladies and gentlemen. What wayward object did 3 astronauts venture into space to wrangle in an 8+ hour American spacewalk in 1992? And you get multiple choice here. Was it a satellite, an asteroid, or space junk?
I think it was a satellite. I think it was the Hubble.
Just leaked in and out of my head. I don't remember anything about what's going on right now.
What soccer star married Victoria Posh Spice Adams in an Irish castle in 1999?
David Beckham. And it was a. Have you ever heard him talk? Sounds like he
I
fucked
mean, you
a
gotta talk
helium.
like this if you're gonna say his name.
Yeah, sounds like he fucked a helium tank, as Ryan Reynolds said.
I was gonna say, but have you seen the clip of Deadpool showing up to David Beckham's house to
Yeah.
apologize for it? It's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, have you? There's a documentary about the two of them, and there's a scene where she's talking about
Her life growing up.
Yeah, and he's all, be honest, and she's like, I'm being honest. He goes, because she's about how it was like a working class family and stuff like that. And he goes, what kind of car did your dad pick you up from school in?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, my dad had a Rolls Royce. So
You know who one of the producers and directors was on that?
they were pissed about that.
No, you know who he was? It was the guy that played the Indian man in Short Circuit. I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
actor's name. He was one of the directors / producers.
No shit.
He's like you can find it on YouTube. Like he was sitting in there while she was giving this interview, and he talks about how Beckham is just like standing there at the door, like saying, "Be honest,
Be
tell
honest,
the truth," to
yeah.
the point that they had to tell him, "You need to leave because we're trying to
apparently-
get this stuff here."
Apparently, they fucking hate each other. Like the news that's coming out, it's like it's legitimately just like a transactional relationship at this point. Like
Because
they
like
fucking
he's a
hate each
working
other.
class guy and she's a super spoiled brat.
Well, she's Posh Spice. All right. That was your question, right, Frank? We're all tied up. Back to Icky. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
What are the names of the twins on Beverly Hills 90210?
I have no idea. Didn't watch that show.
All right, Frank, got a steal?
Yeah, I never watched either.
No!
Bert and Ernie.
Well, it starts with the B. Brenda
Andy and Dick.
Brenda and Brandon Walsh. Brenda and Brandon Walsh. All right, we're going
Alright.
back to you, Frank.
Oh, okay.
This is where you can take the lead. In what country was President Bush when he suddenly vomited on his host at a state dinner in 1992?
It was in Japan. I remember that. He just kind of keeled over and.
I didn't think that would get Frank to laugh that hard.
So
So
I just remember the Japanese prime minister just kind of like putting his arms up and just being like not knowing what to do with this guy puking on his lap.
yeah, so it was Japan. He got sick between the salmon course and the spicy beef.
I remember like they tried to cover it up saying like, oh, like he had the flu. It was a reaction to like the flu.
Either way, he still puked his guts out. All right, Icky. This is to tie it up at 4. What musical set in New York City opened in 1996 and won a Pulitzer Prize for playwright Jonathan Larson and a Tony for Best Musical?
Set in 90s Rent.
Damn! Did you know that, or was that just kind of a guess?
No, half and half. It was an educated guess.
Oh, good. All right. All right. Well, now we're back to Frank. You get this one right, you get to pick first in the movie draft. Who famously declared, I do not like broccoli, and I'm the president of the United States, and I'm not going to eat any more broccoli.
It was President Bush,
Which one?
the first senior.
You are correct. You got 5 points, and then we get to do the, where's my winner?
It
Here we
was
go.
Newman.
It was Newman?
Remember the Seinfeld episode? I can't stand broccoli, the
Oh.
vile weed.
All right, Frank, you got a winner speech for us or anything?
I got nothing.
Good, because we're running late anyway. Let me fast forward to the end of the song, and here we go.
Cheerio. Goody goody.
Look at that. Nice fade out right there. That's amazing. All right. Here we go. What do I want for this? Here. I want that music.
Hey.
No, I don't want that music.
All right, never mind. Fuck
We're
your
gonna go with
space.
this one. All right, movie draft time. Frank won 90s trivia, so Frank gets to go first. And we are going into the 90s. And we are drafting movies that were released in 1994. So, Frank, what is your first movie for your... we're trying to build the ultimate triple feature, is what we're trying to do. And once a movie's off the board, that's it. You don't get to pick it no more.
Well, there's a lot of good movies that I'll pass over because I'm pretty sure they'll get picked anyways. So I'm just gonna like.
No, you don't need to do that. You're building your ultimate triple feature, man.
Right. But
This is why people online constantly say that your picks suck.
They don't.
Now,
No,
are
they
we-
don't
are
say
we-
that they stuck.
Are we creating like a theme in general, or just the best movies in our?
Whatever
opinion?
you want, man. It's just
Exactly,
whatever you
yeah.
want.
It's all rigged. Goat wins every week from his people that pick a set. I'm gonna go with The Crow.
Oh,
first pick.
damn. Deep pull. I bet you think I didn't have the movie poster for that. Aha!
No, I was pretty sure that you did because I think all of us that were at that age loved that movie, and
Oh.
the new one sucked. I haven't seen it, but I heard it sucked.
Anna is
That's
saying
only
Jurassic.
like $7.
She's saying Jurassic Park was that 94. No, I think Jurassic Park
That
was 93.
Yeah,
93.
summer
That was
93
93.
with Last Action Hero.
And I still remember my buddy Scott Lundquist had Jurassic Park on Laserdisc, and it was like 6 discs long. So like every 20 minutes you had to get up and
Switch it
flip
out.
it over. Yeah. It was.
That was one of the worst technologies.
Oh, it was awful.
Dumb idea.
But
Laser dicks.
it also reminds me, I had a friend who owned Pearl Harbor, the one with Ben Affleck and
Oh my god.
Josh Hartnett and
yeah.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yes. For some odd reason, for that DVD package that he got of that movie, it had multiple discs. But rather than putting the movie on one disc and the special features on another, they split the movie between 2 DVDs.
Nice.
It's
It
just,
was
it
a
always
long
blew my
ass
mind.
movie though.
All right, Ichabod, you are up next. What's your first pick for your 94 movie draft?
Well, in honor of the great James Earl Jones, may he rest in peace, I'm gonna go with Lion King.
Oh!
Yeah, something like La la ba 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 ba.
All right, well, we got the Crow and Lion King off the board, which means for my first overall pick, I got to go Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my second pick, which, by the way, I still remember my parents coming back from seeing Pulp Fiction, and they were just raving about it. And I wasn't allowed to see it, but we had the soundtrack on CD, and I would listen to that CD a lot. Apparently, I became familiar with Dick Dale.
When Pulp Fiction came out on pay-per-view back in those cable days, and you could watch the first 5 minutes for free.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's like, "All right, well, we'll watch the first 5 minutes, and if it's okay, I'll buy it for you." And let's just say I didn't get to watch the movie.
You didn't get
Alright.
past it. Any of you fucking pricks move, I'm going to execute every motherfucking last one of you. All right, I get to go again. Now, there's a big movie that I want to go with, but I got to go Clerks, man.
Nice.
Ooh,
Absolutely love that movie. I've loved the scene when she's talking about how many guys she's hooked up with.
Mhm.
And sex is different than blowjobs. And he finds out
Right.
she's blown like 100 dudes. And as she's leaving the door, hey, try not to suck any dick on your way to your car.
And the guy walks after her.
And then the guy that follows her.
Where are you going? Get back here.
Or not try not to suck any dick in the parking lot. Oh my God. All right, so those are my first two. Icky, we're back to you. What is your second choice for your movie draft?
Clerks is a good pick, but I've had too many interactions with Kevin Smith to still like that movie.
Is he a dick?
For number yeah.
Oh.
For number 2, I'm going to go with a movie that definitely impacted my life in a big way in 1994, which was Dumb and Dumber.
Aha! I was wondering when we would get to a Jim Carrey movie. We were talking about this before we started streaming because like 94 was the year of Jim Carrey, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back over to you, Frank. What are you going with, my man?
I'm gonna go with probably I mean, there's not a lot of Brad Pitt movies that I really like him in, but one that I really like him in was Legends of the Fall.
I don't
I
have
just
that
thought that
one.
was a gotcha.
And honest to God, in no way when I'm going through all of the movies of 1994 do I think Frank is going to pick Legends of the Fall. When you said Brad Pitt, I honest to God was already going to bring this up.
Yeah, I thought that's what. Yeah, I mean that's a good dude. But Legends of the Fall was great. Following the three brothers, to just going through World War One. Then the whole landscape of things. It was a great movie.
I don't think I've ever actually seen it.
You got to, dude. Anthony Hopkins, him. There's a few other actors. It's a great movie. It's a long movie, but it's a great movie.
All right, you get to go back to back here. So Legends of the Fall, not Interview with the Vampire. What's your third pick?
And it's going to be Little Giants.
Oh, yeah. Oh, such a good movie. Icebox, man. Icebox.
Yeah. I loved that movie. And it was done by Warner Brothers or something, wasn't it? I always thought it was a Disney movie.
Nah, because you got
Warner
WB right down here.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, man. All right. Icky, what's your third and final movie from 1994?
So I might catch some shit for this one because there's still one massive one, quite possibly one of the biggest movies that ever came out there. But I'm going to skip that one and go for a Jim Cameron, one of my favorites, True Lies.
Hey-oh! Nice. We actually did a things you didn't know about True Lies a few episodes ago. It's a great movie.
It's such a fun movie and funny as well. I love that movie.
All right, so I got a feeling I know which one you're talking about in regards to the big one.
Well, that's one of them.
That's one. See, and this is where I'm torn, man. Like, let me get.
Forrest Gump is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
let me go through
Stargate.
Some of the honorable mentions here. Of course, we got Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
94 was a good year.
Airheads.
Stargate. I don't know if you have Stargate on there.
Who would win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
God.
Trick question. Lemmy
is
God.
God.
I love that Lemmy then shows up like 15 minutes later in the crowd.
One of my favorite scenes is when Chris Farley as the cop shows up to the Viper room to try to find the girlfriend who has the cassette tape. And then these guys are messing with him, and the one guy's got nipple rings. And he's like, what are you going to do? And he goes, improvise. And he yanks the nipple ring out.
Yeah.
Some other big movies from 1994. This wasn't really a big one, but it was a big one for a kid my age who was 14 at the time, Blue Chips.
Right.
This essentially got Anthony Hardaway drafted by the Orlando Magic.
All right.
Because Shaq worked with him on the movie, and he was like, you guys got to draft this kid. And it's changed the course of the NBA. What else do we have here? Oh, got to talk about anytime a Mighty Ducks movie comes out.
Yep. D2,
Mighty Ducks. Was this when they played Iceland?
The U.S. versus the world.
Yeah, it's when they play. Yeah.
It was like the Junior Olympics or something.
Yeah, okay. Here's a movie that Frank is confused by. Leon the Professional.
Which again, I'm like I said, cause see, look in that one, it just says The Professional.
I chose this. So
you son of a bitch.
we were talking earlier about it because Frank's like, when the hell was that ever called Leon? I only remember it ever as The Professional. And so I specifically chose the poster that has it just listed as The Professional.
I think when it first came out, it was The Professional. And then over the last 20 years or so, they've changed it to Leon the Professional, now just Leon.
Mandela Effect. Highly underrated movie from 1994 that I love, by the way. I love Maverick.
Yeah, that's a great one. I picked that one before, remember? When we did Mel Gibson.
Oh, that's right.
I took that one.
Wait, we didn't do Mel Gibson?
We did somebody, and I picked Maverick. Or maybe it was Westerns. I don't know. We've done so many.
I don't think we did this one.
Have you heard of the movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Jeff Bridges, Blown Away?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie?
I think I have.
If you want to see somebody with a horrible Irish accent, watch Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, no, I have. Yeah, that's why, because that sticks out. I knew there was something Irish in there.
Because he's an escaped Irish bomber who comes to Boston and starts blowing up like Boston.
Good movie, by the way. Blown Away is a good movie.
Boston bomb squad members, and he has an Irish accent, and it is the most atrocious Irish accent you've ever seen.
1994, Natural Born Killers. Of course, we covered this one in a previous live stream as well. We also have one that we were talking about, PCU, which, oddly enough, go watch this movie and you can see people getting butthurt about the simplest of things. It's been going on for 30 years, minimum, at this point. Here's a highly underrated movie, Renaissance Man.
No, I was gonna bring that one up too. That was when they were doing all those, where the white teacher would come in and help the
ethnic group.
Yeah, the ethnic kids, but they'd say, hey, let's do it with the military. So you get Mark Wahlberg as he probably actually was at that time. And I think, was it the dude from Different World? Was it Malcolm?
Oh no, Dwayne Wayne.
Dwayne, yeah, Dwayne.
Because he had the flip glasses.
Yep.
Good movie, by the way. Go check out
Yeah,
Renaissance.
it was a decent chick. It was a decent chick flick.
Is this the other one
Yep,
you were talking
there
about,
it is.
Icky?
That's the one. Yep.
Nobody picked Shawshank Redemption. See, this is where I'm torn because I got Shawshank
Well,
Redemption.
Bomb originally.
It's almost like too good to be included on the list.
Yeah, because then you also, I mean, because of the major movies from that year, there was Shawshank Redemption, you had Forrest Gump, and of course you had The Little Rascals.
The Little Rascals, of course.
My wife flippin' loves this movie, by the way. Anytime it's on, she is gonna watch it. Actually, of course, what I was talking about was Speed.
Speed
Came out in '94.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Yep.
Don't Get Dead.
The Mask. Remember seeing that one in theater?
God, again, just Jim Carrey. Like,
That's when everybody fell in love with what's her face?
Cameron
Cameron
Diaz,
Diaz.
yeah. Oh, she was so beautiful in that movie.
She was smoking hot, and that, yeah.
She was what?
And then you found out that she was doing porn. She was smoking hot, just like.
No, you
what
gotta
Jim
do
Carrey
the-
says. Smoking.
Smoking.
What do you mean she was doing porn?
Like something came out later, like she had done like BDSM or whatever it is. Like she's like in like leather and has
What?
whips and would whip. Yeah, like you'll find that out there. Like she had done like some low grade. Like I don't think it was like heavy porn, but it was like stuff like she's whipping dudes. And like
Cameron
it was-
Diaz bondage film tapes.
Told you. Yeah. Because that was the
Told you.
one thing.
Hold on, I
everybody
gotta
was
clip
looking
that
at.
now too.
Okay.
I'm gonna get
Andy
a
Dick.
whole. I'm gonna get a whole drop board of just Frank's random. Told you. Yeah, man. She's No Angel, 1992.
I remember like in 95 or something, like when it was discovered, like at Entertainment Tonight did a story on it, and like they showed just a picture of her in her leather gear and like blue. I think it made her more popular than anything.
Oh, she shows her boobies.
Yeah, there you go. Boobies.
All right. Okay, so my final pick is going to be Cameron Diaz.
Yeah. In Dirty Naughty Sex Poisoning.
Yeah. Also, one more 1994 movie. Of course, you've got.
Street Fighter. Raw Julia's last film too.
Yeah. Oh, it was so bad. It was good though, man. There's one scene that confuses the hell out of me with this movie, by the way. So E Honda, they're like whipping his back. And he's like he says this thing where he's like he's able to meditate so he doesn't feel pain. So he's just nonchalantly taking all of these whips on his back. But then in the very next scene, he's all it hurts. And I'm like, bitch, why aren't you still doing it? Like, why'd you stop? It made no sense to me. But my third and final pick, of course, I got to go with Four Weddings and a Funeral. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
No, my name's Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I might not be a smart man,
But I know
know
what
what
love
love
is. All right, so here are our triple features. Frank has The Crow, Legends of the Fall, and Little Giants. Icky has The Lion King, Dumb and Dumber, and True Lies. And I have Pulp Fiction, Clerks, and Forrest Gump. Oddly enough, Shawshank Redemption not chosen in 1994. But on that note, and amazingly enough, it kind of bombed when it originally hit the.
Well, it's a Stephen King story, so most of them aren't good initially. So
True.
you didn't know till later.
Wasn't 1308
Yeah, it was Stephen
a
King.
Stephen King story? That's a highly under. Halloween coming up. Go watch 1308, man. John Cusack. Oh, like it'll scare the
40
shit
wins.
out of you. Like it's and it's
40
not
wins,
like jump scare, scary. It's like
Psychological.
yeah, dude. Oof, it's brutal. All right, well, that's gonna do it for the live stream. Ichabod, thank you again. No Icky Life dropping tomorrow, but we'll get one next week.
Nope. Yep, for sure.
And hopefully one that is in a good mood with the Ducks beating the Beavers in the Civil War this weekend. Frank doesn't
Yeah,
have
I
a
wish us luck. I'll be there.
Frank doesn't have a podcast. Frank doesn't have anything else going on. Although Frank does do a lot of art. If you check him out on social media, what's your Instagram handle? Sharple's Life.
No, I don't know. I don't pay attention to this shit. I think it's J Sharp 850.
There you go, J Sharp 850. So go follow him on Instagram. He does a lot of cool paintings and stuff. He even had a Beetlejuice one that he put up there. So on that note, have yourselves a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. We're hitting that time of year where everything
It's better.
love this time of year because you have baseball season doing its stretch run. Football has officially kicked off, both college and the NFL. Halloween is right around the corner. Weather's going to change, and being in El Paso, I don't have to worry about it being fucking 105 degrees anymore, although it's going to be 99 tomorrow. But yeah, love this time of year. So, Ichabod, thank you again for stopping by. Frank, as always, any parting thoughts?
Don't get me up cheddar. I'll slap your wife.
Oh, Anna says she moves on Saturday. Yes, give me your new address once you move, Anna, and then I'll make sure to send you your stuff. Oh,
You
by
get
the way,
stuff
since
in a
you
year.
did bring that up, there's 2 membership tiers here on my YouTube channel. There's a channel supporter, that's 99 cents a month, and then there's a member Lorian, that's $4.99 a month. Now, for the 99 cents, you're going to get a sticker pack. We have the History of Rock podcast. That's the one that I did with Shim. I have the Cross-Eyed Bear sticker. That's the Alanis Morissette song. You didn't realize she was actually singing about a stuffed bear. And then, of course, you have the Real Brand DeLorean sticker as well. Icky, I got to get your address so I can send you some. And then if you jump up to the member Lorian tier, which is $4.99 a month, you can get a t-shirt with one of those designs on it. Sizes are not guaranteed, but I got a shit ton of these t-shirts, man. So I'm going to ship off a package to Anna, and if you become a member of the channel, I'll get you that stuff as well. But have yourselves a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.